story had held us, round the fire, sufficiently breathless. But except the obvious remark that it was gruesome, as on Christmas Eve in an old house a strange tale should essentially be, I remember no comment uttered till somebody happened to say that it was the only case he had met in which such a visitation had fallen on a child.
Oh, I quite agree. In regard to this ghost, or whatever it was, that its appearing first to the little boy, at so tender an age, adds a particular touch.
That's true.
But it's not the first occurrence of its charming kind that I know to have involved a child.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
If the child gives the effect another turn of the screw, what do you say to two children?
Two children?
We say, of course, that they give two turns.
Very
No,
good.
nobody but me till now has ever heard this. It's quite too horrible. Nothing at all that I know touches it.
For sheer terror?
For dreadfulness.
How delicious.
For general uncanny ugliness and horror and pain.
Well, then, just sit right down and begin.
Yes, please.
No, I can't begin. The story's written. It's in a locked drawer. It hasn't been out for years. I could write to my man and enclose the key. He could send it down.
And is the record yours? You took the thing down?
Nothing but the impression. I took that here, inside. I've never lost it.
And your manuscript?
Is in old, faded ink, and in the most beautiful hand. A woman's. She's been dead these 20 years. She sent me the pages in question before she died. She'd never told anyone, I'm sure.
Anyone?
You'll easily judge why when you hear.
Because the thing had been such a scare?
Oh, you'll easily judge, you'll see.
She was in love?
Yes.
You are acute.
Thank you.
Yes, she was in love. That is, she had been. That came out. She couldn't tell her story without it coming out.
Who was it she was in love with?
The story will tell.
I can't wait for the story.
No, the story won't tell, not in any literal, vulgar way.
More's the pity, then. That's the only way I ever understand.
Same with me.
2 nights later, we were all assembled again before the fire in the hall. It appeared that the narrative he had promised to read us really required, for a proper intelligence, a few words of prologue.
The authoress of this little manuscript was the youngest of several daughters of a poor country parson. At the age of 20, she'd come to London to answer in person an advertisement for a position as governess. This prospective patron proved a gentleman, a bachelor in the prime of life, such a figure as had never risen save in a dream or an old novel before a fluttered, anxious girl out of a Hampshire vicarage.
That seems natural.
He'd been left, by the death of their parents in India, guardian to a small nephew and a small niece, who lived at an old family place in Essex called Bly. They were being looked after by an excellent woman, Mrs. Gross, the housekeeper, and for the time being the superintendent to the little girl, Flora. There were plenty of people to help, but of course the young lady who should go down as governess would be in supreme authority. Miles, the boy, had been dispatched to school after the unexpected death of the first governess, a thoroughly respectable person.
And what did the former governess die of? Of so much respectability?
That will come out. I don't anticipate.
I thought that was just what you were doing.
I should have wished to learn if the position brought with it...
Necessary danger to life? She did wish to learn, and she did learn. The young woman hesitated, took a couple of days to consult and consider. And on a second interview, she faced the music. She accepted.
The moral of which was, of course, her seduction by the splendid young man.
Oh, she saw him only twice.
Yes, but that's just the beauty of her passion.
It was the beauty of it. There were other applicants who hadn't succumbed. They were somehow simply afraid. It sounded dull, it sounded strange, and all the more so because of his main condition.
Which was?
That she should never trouble him, but never. Neither appeal, nor complain, nor write about anything. Only meet all questions herself, take the whole thing over, and let him alone. Now, she promised to do this, and when he thanked her for the sacrifice, she said she already felt rewarded.
But was that all her reward?
She never saw him again.
Oh.
Really?
What is your title?
Oh, I haven't one.
Oh, I have.
But Douglas, without heeding him, had begun to read.
I remember the whole beginning as a succession of flights drops and drops, a little seesaw of the right throbs and the wrong. After the long hours in a bumping, swinging coach, I'd expected or dreaded something so melancholy that what greeted me was a good surprise. I remember as a most pleasant impression the broad, clear front, its open windows and fresh curtains, and the pair of maids looking out. I remember the lawn and the bright flowers, and the crunch of my wheels on the gravel, and the clustered treetops over which the rooks circled and cawed in the golden sky. There immediately appeared at the door, with a little girl in her hand, a civil person who dropped me as decent a curtsy as if I had been the mistress or a distinguished visitor.
Oh, welcome, miss, welcome. I'm Mrs. Gross, and this here little lady is Flora.
I'm very pleased, Mrs. Gross. Hello, Flora.
How do you do?
What a beautiful child. And the little boy, does he look like her? Is he, too, so very remarkable?
Oh, miss, most remarkable. If you think well of this one...
Yes, if I do.
You will be carried away by the little gentleman.
Well, that, I think, is what I came for, to be carried away. I'm afraid, however, I'm rather easily carried away. I was carried away in London.
Oh, well, miss, you're not the first, and you won't be the last.
Oh, I've no pretension to being the only one. And my other pupil, when does he return from school?
He comes on Friday for the holiday, miss. Oh, I'm glad you've come, miss. Now, let me show you to your room, and then we'll have a look about the place.
Bly was a big, ugly, antique house, and I had the fancy of our being almost as lost as a handful of passengers in a great drifting ship. Well, I was strangely at the helm. During the first night, I was extremely restless. Several times I arose and wandered about my room. Once I believed I recognized faint and far the cry of a child. There had been another moment when I found myself starting as at the passage before my door of a light footstep. I was never more pleased to see the morning come. There was a letter for me from my employer, containing still another letter from the headmaster of the school. It was unopened, and my employer instructed me to deal with the headmaster, but not to bother him about it, not a word. I broke the seal and read it. Mrs. Gross, what does it mean? The child's dismissed from school.
But aren't they all?
Sent home, yes, but only for the holidays. Miles may never go back at all.
They won't take him? What's he done?
They don't say. Is he really bad?
Do the gentlemen say so?
They go into no particulars. They simply express their regret that it should be impossible to keep him. That can have only one meaning, that he's an injury to the others.
Master Miles? Him an injury? Why, he's scarce 10 years old.
Yes, it would be incredible.
See him, miss, first, then believe it. You might as well believe it of the little lady. Bless her. Look at her.
Then I take it you've never known him to be bad.
Oh, I don't pretend that.
Then you have known him.
Yes, indeed, miss, thank God.
Oh, you mean that a boy who never
is no boy for me.
Oh, you like them with the spirit to be naughty. Well, so do I. But not to the degree to contaminate, to corrupt.
Are you afraid he'll corrupt you?
No, not at all. What was the lady who was here before?
The last governess? Oh, she was also young and pretty. Almost as young and almost as pretty, miss, even as you.
Then, I hope her youth and her beauty helped her. He seems to like us young and pretty.
Oh, he did. It was the way he liked everyone. I mean, that's his way, the master's.
Did she see anything in the boy?
That wasn't right? She never told me.
Did she die here?
No, she went off.
Went off to die? She was taken ill, you mean, and went home?
She was not taken ill, so far as appeared, in this house. She left it at the end of the year to go home for a short holiday. But our young lady never came back, and at the very moment I was expecting her, I heard from the master that she was dead.
But of what?
He never told me. But please, miss, I must get back to my work now. I've got so much to do. I've just got to...
On Friday, Miles arrived. He was incredibly beautiful, and Mrs. Gross had put her finger on it. Everything but a sort of passion of tenderness for him was swept away by his presence, by his innocence. I had made up my mind to say nothing about his dismissal. They gave me so little trouble, the children. They were extraordinary, remarkable, and I dare say I fancied myself, in short, a remarkable young woman for doing exactly what the master expected of me. Well, I needed to be remarkable, to offer a front to the remarkable things that presently gave their first sign. One warm afternoon, I'd come out for my stroll, and I was thinking how charming it would be to meet someone. Someone would appear there at the turn of a path and would stand before me and smile and approve. I didn't ask more than that. I only asked that he should know. What arrested me on the spot as I came into view of the house, and with a shock much greater than any vision had allowed for, was the sense that my imagination had in a flash turned real. He did stand there, but high up, beyond the lawn, and at the very top of the tower. The man who met my eyes was not the person I had supposed. The figure that faced me was, a few more seconds assured me, not the one seen in London. I had not seen it anywhere. He stood very erect, as it struck me, and with both hands on the ledge. So I saw him as I see the letters I form on this page. Then, after a minute, as if to add to the spectacle, he slowly changed his place, passed, looking at me hard all the while, to the opposite corner of the platform. He stopped at the other corner, still watching me. Then he turned away. That was all I knew. Was there a secret at Bly? A mystery of Udolpho, or an insane, an unmentionable relative kept in unsuspected confinement? I said nothing to Mrs. Gross or any of the others, preferring rather to shut myself up to think. We had been subject to an intrusion. Some unscrupulous traveller fond of old houses had made his way in unobserved and then stolen out as he came. The good thing, after all, was that we should surely see no more of him. The following Sunday, as Mrs. Gross and the children were waiting in the hall to start our procession to church, I stepped into the dining room to fetch a pair of gloves I had dropped there. As I entered, I became aware of a person on the other side of the window and looking straight in. It was the person who had already appeared to me. His face was close to the glass. He remained but a few seconds, long enough to convince me he also saw and recognized, but it was as if I had been looking at him for years and had known him always. Something, however, happened this time that had not happened before. His stare into my face, through the glass and across the room, was as deep and as hard as then, but it quitted me for a moment, during which I could still watch it, see it fix successively several other things. On the spot, there came to me the added shock that it was not for me he had come there. He had come for someone else. I bounded straight out of the door again and ran round to the window, but my visitor had vanished. The terrace and the whole place, the lawn and the garden beyond it, all I could see of the park were empty, with a great emptiness. There were shrubberies and big trees, but I remember the clear assurance I felt that none of them concealed him. He was there, or was not there. Not there if I didn't see him. I applied my face to the pane and looked as he had looked into the room, as if at this moment, to show me exactly what his range had been, Mrs. Gross, as I had done for himself just before, came in from the hall. She saw me as I had seen my own visitant. I gave her something of the shock that I had received. She turned white, and I wondered why she should be scared.
What in the name of goodness is the matter?
With me? Do I show it?
You're as white as a sheet. You look awful. Has anything happened?
Yes. You must know now. Did I look very strange?
Through this window? Dreadful.
Well, I've been frightened. Just what you saw from the dining room a minute ago was the effect of that. What I saw just before was much worse.
Oh, what was it?
An extraordinary man looking in.
What extraordinary man?
I haven't the least idea.
Then where's he gone?
I know still less.
Have you seen him before?
Yes, once, on the old tower.
Do you mean he's a stranger?
Oh, very much.
Yet you didn't tell me.
No, for reasons. But now that you've guessed...
But I haven't guessed. Was he a gentleman?
No. No.
Then nobody about the place? Nobody from the village?
Nobody. I didn't tell you, but I made sure.
But if he isn't a gentleman...
What is he? He's a horror.
A horror?
He's... God help me if I know what he is!
What is he like?
I've been trying to tell you, but he's like nobody.
Nobody?
He has no hat. He has red hair, very red, close curling, and a pale face, long in shape, with straight, good features and little, rather queer whiskers that are as red as his hair. His eyes are sharp, strange, awfully. He gives me a sort of sense of looking like an actor.
An actor?
I've never seen one, but so I suppose them. He's tall, active, erect, but never a gentleman.
A gentleman? A gentleman, he?
You know him, then?
But he is handsome.
Remarkably.
And dressed?
In somebody's clothes. They're smart, but they're not his own.
They're the master's.
You do know him.
Quint.
Quint?
Peter Quint. His own man. His valet. When he was here.
When the master was?
He never wore his hat. But he did wear... Well, there were waistcots missed. When the master went, Quint was alone.
Alone?
Alone with us, in charge.
And what became of him?
He went too.
Went where?
God knows where. He died.
Died?
Yes. Mr. Quint is dead.
Mrs. Gross herself had seen nothing, not the shadow of a shadow, yet she accepted, without directly impugning my sanity, the truth as I gave it to her. We went over and over every feature of what I had seen.
He was looking for someone else, you say? Someone who was not you?
He was looking for little Miles.
But how do you know?
I know. And you know, my dear.
What if he should see him?
Little Miles? That's what he wants.
The child?
Heaven forbid. The man. He wants to appear to them.
Oh,
it's
no, that's
strange that the children have never mentioned him, his name, his presence, anything.
Oh, the little lady doesn't remember. She never heard or knew.
But Miles would remember. Miles would know. You tell me they were great friends.
Oh, it wasn't him. It was Quint's own fancy. Quint was much too free with everyone.
But didn't the master know?
He didn't like tale-bearing. He hated complaints. I never told him. I was afraid.
Afraid of what?
Of things that man could do. Quint was so clever. He was so deep.
And how did he die?
A labourer going to early work found him, stone dead on the road from the village. He had a wound in his head that came, it seems, from slipping down an icy slope in the dark. And that's all I know about it, miss.
I now saw that I'd been asked for a service admirable and difficult, and there would be a greatness in letting it be seen, in the right quarter, that I could succeed where many another girl might have failed. I was there to protect and defend the little creatures. They had nothing but me, and I had them. It was, in short, a magnificent chance. I was a screen. I was to stand before them. The more I saw, the less they would. I began to watch them in a stifled suspense, a disguised excitement that might well, had it continued too long, have turned to something like madness. What saved me, as I now see, was that it turned to something else altogether. It didn't last as suspense. It was superseded by horrible proofs. Late one afternoon, while Miles was finishing a book indoors, Flora and I were on the edge of a lake which we called the Sea of Azov. Suddenly, I became aware that on the other side of the lake we had an interested spectator. I began to take in with certitude, and yet without direct vision, the presence at a distance of a third person. I transferred my eyes straight to little Flora, who at the moment was about 10 yards away. My heart had stood still for an instant with the wonder and terror of the question whether she too would see, but she had in her play turned her back to the water. The clock of my courage ticked out the right second, and I again shifted my eyes and faced what I had to face. "They know, Mrs. Gross! They know!
And what on earth?
Why, all that we know, and heaven knows what else besides. 2 hours ago, in the garden, Flora saw."
She's told you?
Not a word. That's the horror. She kept it to herself. The child of 8. That child.
Then how do you know if she kept it to herself?
I was there. I saw with my eyes. Saw that she was perfectly aware.
Do you mean aware of him?
No, of her.
Oh.
Another person this time, but a figure of quite as unmistakable horror and evil. A woman in black, pale and dreadful, with such an air also, and such a face, on the other side of the lake.
Oh.
I was there with the child, quiet for the hour, and in the midst of it, she came.
Came? How? From where?
From where they come from. She just appeared and stood there.
Someone you've never seen?
Yes, but someone the child has. Someone you have. My predecessor. The one who died.
Miss Jessel?
Miss Jessel. You don't believe me?
How can you be so sure?
Ask Flora. She's sure. Oh, the more I go over it, the more I see in it. And the more I see in it, the more I fear.
You mean you're afraid of seeing her again?
No, that's nothing now. It's of not seeing her.
I don't understand, miss.
The child may keep it up. She'll see her without my knowing it. And the way she looked.
At you, you mean? So wickedly?
Dear me, no. I could have borne that. She gave me never a glance. She only stared at the child with a kind of fury of intention.
Intention?
To get hold of her. Oh, she was infamous.
They were both infamous. She and Quint.
And there was something between them.
There was everything. She was a lady and he... Oh, I've never seen one like him. He did what he wished.
With her?
With them all. And the poor woman, she paid for it.
Then you know what she died of.
No, I know nothing. I didn't want to know.
Yet you had then your idea.
Of a real reason for leaving? Oh, yes. She couldn't have stayed. fancy it here for a governess, and afterwards I imagined, and I still imagine, and what I imagine is dreadful.
Not so dreadful as what I imagine. Oh, I don't do it. I don't save or shield them. It's far worse than I dreamed. They're lost. Late that night, while the house slept, we had another talk in my room when Mrs. Gross admitted to its being beyond doubt that I had seen exactly what I had seen.
Well, miss, I don't think you've made it up.
If I had made it up, how could I give a picture of each personage, disclosing to the last detail their special marks?
Oh, I'd like to forget the whole thing, miss.
One thing further, Mrs. Gross. Did Miles spend a good deal of time with Peter Quint?
For several months they were always together. I spoke to Miss Jessel about it, but she told me to mind my own business. So I spoke directly to little Miles.
And he repeated your words to Quint?
No, I don't think so at any rate. But he denied certain occasions.
What occasions?
When they'd been together. Quite as if Quint were his tutor, and a very grand one, and Miss Jessel only for the little lady.
Ah, I see. He lied.
Oh, Miss Jessel didn't mind. She didn't forbid him.
And did he ever mention her in connection with Quint?
Well, he didn't show anything. He denied. He denied.
So that you could see he knew what was between the two wretches?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, you do know, you dear thing. Only you haven't my dreadful boldness of mind. And you keep back out of timidity and modesty and delicacy. But I shall get it out of you yet.
Oh,
there was something in the boy that suggested to you that he covered and concealed their relationship.
Oh, he couldn't prevent
your learning the truth? I dare say. I don't wonder you looked odd when I mentioned to you the letter from his school.
I doubt if I looked as strange as you. But if he was so bad then, how is he such an angel now?
Yes, indeed. And if he was a fiend at school.
How?
Well, you must ask me again. I shall not be able to tell you for some days, but ask me again. Ask me again. One evening, with nothing to lead up or to prepare it, I felt the cold touch of the impression that had breathed on me the night of my arrival. I laid down the book I'd been reading, rose to my feet, and taking a candle, went straight out of the room, noiselessly closed and locked the door. As I walked along the hallway, my candle went out, but the faint light of early morning rendered it unnecessary. Without it, the next instant, I saw that there was someone on the stair. I felt myself stiffen for a third encounter with Quint. The apparition had reached the landing halfway up, and at the sight of me it stopped and fixed me exactly as it had fixed me from the tower and from the garden. He knew me as well as I knew him. It was the dead silence of our long gaze at such close quarters that gave the whole horror, huge as it was, its only note of the unnatural. If I had met a murderer in such a place and at such an hour, we still at least would have spoken. The silence itself became the element into which I saw the figure disappear. I definitely saw it turn and pass, with my eyes on the villainous back that no hunch could have more disfigured, straight down the staircase and into the darkness in which the next bend was lost. On the 11th night after my latest encounter with that gentleman, they were all numbered now. I had an alarm that proved quite my sharpest shock. It was after 1 o'clock, and I'd fallen asleep reading. Suddenly, I awoke as if a hand had shook me. I had left a light burning, but it was now out, and I felt an instant certainty that Flora, who slept in the same room, had extinguished it. I saw that she was not in her bed, but had squeezed in behind the blind and was peering out into the night. She was face to face with the apparition we had met at the lake, and could now communicate with it as she had not then been able to do. Without disturbing her, I left the room, making my way to an empty room where I could look out upon the view that Flora gazed upon so intently. There was a great still moon that showed me on the lawn a person, motionless and as if fascinated, looking up to where I had appeared, looking, that is, not so much straight at me as at something that was apparently above me. There was a person on the tower. The presence on the lawn, I felt sick as I made it out, was poor little Miles himself. The next day, I told everything to Mrs. Gross. She believed me, I was sure, absolutely. If she hadn't, I don't know what would have become of me, for I couldn't have borne the business alone. But she was a magnificent monument to the blessing of a want of imagination. No, it was useless to attempt to convey to Mrs. Gross the extent of our troubles. I had no alternative but, in form at least, to confront Miles.
Oh, hello. And what are you up to?
Miles, you must tell me now, and all the truth. What did you go out for? What were you doing there?
If I tell you why, will you understand? Well, so you should do this.
Do what?
Think me for a change bad.
Then you didn't undress at all last night.
Not at all. I sat up and read.
Oh, and when did you go down?
At midnight. When I'm bad, I am bad.
I see. But how could you be sure I would know it?
Oh, I arranged that with Flora. She was to get up and look out.
Which is what she did do.
So she disturbed you, and to see what she was looking at, you also looked. You saw.
While you caught your death in the night air.
How otherwise should I have been bad enough? Just think what I might do.
That afternoon, as Mrs. Gross and I sat on the lawn watching the children playing out of earshot, I again attempted to explain what I now began to see so clearly.
But they never so much as mentioned their old friends.
I know. No more than Miles has alluded to his expulsion from school. But depend upon it, the four of them perpetually meet. Oh, yes, we may sit here and look at them, and they may show off to us. But even while they pretend to be lost in their fairy tale, they're steeped in their vision of the dead restored. He's not reading to her. They're talking of them. They're talking horrors.
Oh, Miss.
I go on, I know, as if I were crazy. And it's a wonder I'm not. What I've seen would have made you so, but it has only made me more lucid, made me get hold of still other things.
Of what other things have you got hold?
Why, of the very things that have delighted and fascinated me, that have mystified and troubled me. They're more than earthly beauty. They're absolutely unnatural goodness. It's a game. It's a policy and a fraud.
On the part of the little darlings?
As yet, mere lovely babies. Yes, mad as that seems. They're not mine, they're not ours. They're his and they're hers.
Quince and that woman's.
Quince and that woman's. They want to get to them.
But for what?
For the love of all the evil that in those dreadful days the pair put into them. And to ply them with that evil still.
No.
To keep up the work of demons is what brings the others back.
Laws! Oh, they were rascals. But what can they do now?
Do? Don't they do enough? They can destroy them.
But how?
They don't know as yet quite how. But they're trying hard. They're seen only in strange places. The top of towers, the outside of windows, the further edge of pools. But there's a deep design to shorten the distance and overcome the obstacle. And the success of the tempters is only a question of time.
Before they have the children.
Unless, of course, we can prevent it.
Their uncle must do the preventing. He must take them away.
And who's to make him?
You, miss.
By writing to him that his house is poisoned and his little nephew and niece mad?
But if they are, miss...
And if I am myself, you mean? That's charming news to be sent him by a governess whose prime undertaking was to give him no worry.
Oh, yes, he do ain't worry. Make him at any rate come to you.
To me? Him?
Oh, he ought to be here. He ought to help.
You see me asking him for a visit. If you should so lose your head as to appeal to him for me...
Yes, miss.
I would leave on the spot. Both him and you. The summer had turned, the summer had gone. The autumn had dropped upon Bly and had blown out half our lights. The place, with its grey sky and withered garlands, its bared spaces and scattered dead leaves, was like a theatre after the performance, all strewn with crumpled playbills. My sensibility had, in the most extraordinary fashion, not declined, but deepened. It was not, I'm sure, my mere infernal imagination, and I was ready to know the very worst that was to be known. What I feared most of all was that my eyes might be sealed just while theirs were most opened. There were times when I would have been ready to swear that literally in my presence, but with my direct sense of it closed, they had visitors who were known and were welcome. The outsiders were there, and I wanted to cry out, "They're here, you little wretches, and you can't deny it now." But they would have denied it, and they would have been adorable doing it. Walking to church a certain Sunday morning, I had little Miles at my side, while his sister and Mrs. Gross walked far in advance of us.
Look here. When in the world, please, am I going back to school? You know, that for a fellow to be with a lady always...
And always with the same lady?
Of course, she's a jolly perfect lady. But after all, I'm a fellow, don't you see, that's, well, getting on.
Yes, you're getting on.
And you can't say I've not been awfully good, can you? Except just that one night.
That one night?
Why, when I went out of the house.
Oh, yes. But I forget what you did it for.
You forget? Why, it was to show you I could. That I could be bad. But when am I going back?
Were you very happy at school?
Oh, I'm happy enough anywhere.
Well, then, if you're just as happy here...
I want my own sort, you see. Does my uncle know?
Know what, Miles?
Why, the way I'm going on.
I don't think your uncle much cares.
Then don't you think he can be made to by his coming down?
But who'll get him to come down?
I will.
With that, Miles marched off alone into the church. I never followed him, but rather, after pondering my predicament, returned quickly to Bly. I should have desired to bring his uncle by whatever means, but that would have signaled my defeat, my inability to shield my young charges. Should I get away altogether? Here was my chance. There was no one to stop me. I could give the whole thing up, turn my back and retreat. So I made my way to the schoolroom, where there were objects belonging to me that I should have to take. But I opened the door to find again, in a flash, my eyes unsealed. Seated at my own table in clear noonday light, I saw Miss Jessel. She rose, not as if she had heard me, but with an indescribable grand melancholy of indifference and detachment, and within a dozen feet of me stood there, dark as midnight in her black dress, her haggard beauty and her unutterable woe. She had looked at me long enough to appear to say that her right to sit at my table was as good as mine to sit at hers.
You terrible, miserable woman!
She looked at me as if she heard me. But then, the next minute, there was nothing in the room but the sunshine and a sense that I must stay.
Well, miss, what happened to you at church?
I only went with you for the walk. I had then to come back to meet a friend.
Friend? You?
Yes, I have a couple. I came home, my dear, for a talk with Miss Jessel.
A talk? Do you mean she spoke?
It came to that. I found her on my return in the schoolroom.
And what did she say?
That she suffers the torment
Do you mean of the lost?
of the lost, of the damned, and she wants to share the torment.
Share the torment?
She wants Flora.
Oh, you must send for their uncle, miss.
I will. It's all out now between Miles and me. I'll put it all before his uncle. The letter from the school, everything.
But we still don't know why he was let go, miss.
For wickedness. For what else? Is he stupid? Is he untidy? Is he ill-natured? No. So it can be only that. I'll write the letter tonight. That night, I sat for a long time before a blank sheet of paper and listened to the lash of the rain and the batter of the gusts. Finally, I went out, taking a candle. I crossed the passage and listened a minute at Miles' door.
I say, you there? Come in.
How did you know I was there?
Why, of course I heard you. Did you fancy you made no noise? You're like a troop of cavalry.
Then you weren't asleep.
Not much. I lie awake and think.
What is it that you think of?
What in the world, my dear, but you? I think, you know, of this strange business of ours.
Of what strange business, Miles?
Why, the way you bring me up and all the rest.
What do you mean by all the rest?
Oh, you know. You know.
Certainly you shall go back to school if that's what troubles you, but not to the old place. How could I know you were troubled about school when you've never spoken of it at all?
Haven't I?
No, never. From the hour you came back, I thought you wanted to go on as you are.
I don't. I want to get away. My uncle must come down, and you must completely settle things. You'll have to tell him about the way you've let it all drop. You'll have to tell him a tremendous lot.
And how much will you, Miles, have to tell him? There are things he'll ask you.
What things?
The things you've never told me. What happened before?
Before what?
Before you came back. And what happened before you went away.
What happened?
Suddenly, an extraordinary blast, a gust of frozen air, shook the room as if in the wild wind the window had crashed in. Miles gave a loud, high shriek, a note either of jubilation or of terror. I jumped to my feet again and was conscious of darkness. As I stared about me, I saw that the drawn curtains were unstirred and the window tight. Why, the candle's out.
It was I who blew it out.
The next day, Miles was very much the little gentleman. During the afternoon, under his influence, I suddenly started up with a strange sense of having literally slept at my post. Yet I hadn't really in the least slept. I'd only done something much worse. I'd forgotten. where all this time was Flora? I went straight to my room, then to several others. Flora was nowhere to be found.
She'll be in one of the rooms you haven't searched, miss.
No, she's gone out.
Without her hat?
Isn't that woman always without one?
She's with her?
She's with her. We must find them.
Oh, and where's Master Miles?
Oh, he's with Quint. They're in the schoolroom.
Lord, miss.
The trick's played. They've successfully worked their plan.
Oh.
She off, and Miles has provided for himself as well.
Oh,
But
no.
come, unless you wish to look upstairs yourself.
Oh, with them? Oh.
We went straight to the lake, to the spot where I had first seen the dreadful presence fixing her eyes on Flora.
Oh. You really think she's all the way out here, miss?
She may be on the spot from which we saw together what I told you.
Oh, when she pretended not to see.
Yes, I've always been sure she wanted to go back alone. And now her brother has managed it for her.
You suppose they really talk of them?
Oh, they say things that if we heard them would simply appall us.
And if she is there?
Yes,
Then Miss Jessel is?
beyond a doubt. You shall see. Look, she's taken the boat.
Then where is it? It's not on the lake.
She's used it to go over and then has managed to hide it.
All alone. That child.
She's not alone. And at such times she's not a child.
Oh,
She's an old, old woman.
Lord.
We made our way around the pond, a walk that took us 10 minutes. I assisted Mrs. Gross and paused to give her breath several times. Finally, as we came through a wooded area, Mrs. Gross shouted out,
There she is. Flora. Flora.
"Why, where's your hat?" "Where yours is, my dear."
And where's Miles?
"I'll tell you if you'll tell me."
Well, what?
"Where, my pet, is Miss Jessel?"
Oh, miss. There. Come, my dear.
As
come.
Mrs. Gross
There,
took the
come.
child, looking herself like a creature scared or rather wounded, I seized her arm and pointed to the opposite bank. Miss Jessel stood exactly as she had stood the other time. I felt a thrill of joy at having brought on a proof. She was there, and I was justified. She was there, and I was neither cruel nor mad. "She's there! She's there! She's there! You little unhappy thing! There! And you see her as well as you see me!"
What a dreadful turn, to be sure, miss. Where on earth do you see anything?
You don't see her exactly as we see. You mean to say you don't now? Now? She as big as a blazing fire. Only look, dearest woman, look!
She isn't there, little lady, and nobody's there, and you never see nothing, my sweet. How can poor Miss Jessel, when poor Miss Jessel's dead and buried? We know, don't we, love? It's all a mistake, and a worry and a joke, and we'll go home as fast as we can.
Take me away! Take me away! Take me away from her! From me? From you! From you! I see nobody! I see nothing! I never have! I think you're cruel! I don't like you! Take me away! Go!
Good girl.
Mrs. Gross took little Flora and retreated as fast as she could move. I was left staring at the figure on the opposite bank. If I had ever doubted, all my doubt would then have gone. I had done my best, but I had lost her. When I returned to Bly, Flora's little belongings had all been removed. She passed the night with Mrs. Gross, and I saw neither of them. The next morning, early, Mrs. Gross came to my room.
Oh, the little lady's had a frightful night, miss. She's feverish and restless, poor thing.
She persists in denying to you that she saw or has ever seen anything.
It isn't a matter on which I can push her. Oh, this has made her, every inch of her, quite old.
I did put my foot in it. She'll never speak to me again.
I think indeed, miss, she never will. She asks me every 3 minutes if I think you're coming in.
I see. Has she said a single word about Miss Jessel?
Not one, miss. She insists that yesterday by the lake there was nobody.
What Flora wants, of course, is to get rid of me.
Never again to so much as look at you.
My going would seem the right thing, but it won't do. It's you who must go. You must take Flora.
But where in the world?
Away from here. Away from them. Away most of all now from me. Straight to her uncle. Leave me with my remedy.
Your remedy?
Get off with his sister as soon as possible, and leave me with Miles alone. I think he wants to give me an opening. I believe he wants to speak. Tell his uncle I only want to give the poor little exquisite wretch more time.
What do you mean by more time?
Well, a day or two, really to bring it out. He'll then be on my side.
I'll go, miss. I'll go this morning. I myself, miss...
Well?
I can't stay.
You mean that since yesterday you have seen?
I've heard.
Heard?
From that child, horrors. On my honour, miss, she says things.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God.
It so justifies me.
It does that, miss.
She's so horrible. About me?
About you, miss, since you've asked. It's beyond anything for a young lady. I can't think wherever she must have picked up.
I can, then.
Well, perhaps I can also, since I've heard some of it before. I must take her away from them.
Then, in spite of yesterday, you believe...
In such doings, I believe.
Well, there's one thing it occurs to me to remember. My letter will have reached town before you.
Your letter won't have got there. Your letter never went.
What became of it? I left it on the table to be sent.
Goodness knows. Master Miles...
Do you mean he took it?
When I came back with Miss Flora, it wasn't where you put it. You see.
Yes. I see that if Miles took it, he probably will have read it and destroyed it.
And don't you see anything else?
It strikes me that by this time your eyes are open even wider than mine.
Now we know what he must have done at school. He stole.
Well, perhaps.
He stole letters.
Leave us. Leave us. I'll get it out of him. He'll meet me. He'll confess. If he confesses, he's saved. And if he's saved...
Then you are? I'll save you without him.
No hour of my stay was so assailed with apprehensions as that of my coming down to learn that the carriage containing Mrs. Gross and Flora had already rolled out of the gates. Now I was, I said to myself, face to face with the elements. I felt again how my equilibrium depended on the success of my rigid will, the will to shut my eyes as tight as possible to the truth that what I had to deal with was revoltingly against nature, and my monstrous ordeal demanded only another turn of the screw of ordinary human virtue. That night, after our supper, we were together in the dining room. Miles stood and looked out of the wide window through which I had, that other day, seen Peter Quint.
Well, so we're alone.
Oh, more or less. Not absolutely. We shouldn't like that.
No, I suppose we shouldn't. Of course, we have the others.
We have the others. We have indeed the others. Tell me, Miles, if yesterday afternoon, from the table in the hall, you took my letter? As I spoke, I sprang straight up, getting hold of him, drawing him close, keeping his back to the window. For there, Peter Quint had come into view like a sentinel before a prison. He had reached the window and was glaring through it with his white face of damnation. I had to keep the boy himself unaware. It was like fighting with a demon for a human soul, and I saw how the human soul, held out in the tremor of my hands at arm's length, had a perfect dew of sweat on a lovely childish forehead. The face that was close to mine was as white as the face against the glass, and out of it presently came a sound, not low nor weak, but as if from much further away.
Yes, I took it.
What did you take it for?
To see what you said about me.
Is that what you did at school?
At school?
Did you take letters? Or other things?
Other things? Did I steal?
Is that why you couldn't go back?
No, I didn't steal.
What then did you do?
Well, I said things.
Only that? They turned you out for that? To whom did you say them? Was it to everyone?
No, it was only to those I liked.
It was for the instant confounding and bottomless, for if he were innocent, what then on earth was I? But then, against the glass, stood again the hideous author of our woe. With a single bound and an irrepressible cry, I seized Miles, but the wildness of my leap only served as a great betrayal. No more! No more! No more!
Is she here?
She?
Miss Jessel!
It's not Miss Jessel, but it's at the window, straight before us. It's there, the coward horror. There for the last time. At this, he gave a frantic little shake for air and light. He was bewildered, glaring vainly over the place and missing wholly the wide, overwhelming presence.
It's he!
Whom do you mean by he?
Peter Quint! You devil!
What does he matter now, my own? What will he ever matter? I have you, but he has lost you forever. There, Miles! There! At the window! But Miles had already jerked straight round, stared, glared again, and seen but the quiet day. Then he uttered the cry of a creature hurled over an abyss, and the grasp with which I recovered him might have been that of catching him in his fall. I caught him, yes. I held him, it may be imagined with what a passion. But at the end of a minute, I began to feel what it truly was that I held. We were alone with the quiet day, and his little heart, dispossessed, had stopped.